Everybody, welcome back. So this is our last video on Amelia Bedelia means business. So remember, when we last left off, she was thinking about entering the bike festival, little parade. They're going to dress up their bikes, and what will she win? What could she win? That's right. She could win a new bike, right? And that's what she's been hoping for. So let's read. Chapter 11. Dream bike nightmares. As she rode home, Amelia Bedelia got more and more excited about the contest. She told her mom and dad all about it. When I win, she said, I'll get a free bike, and you won't have to pay for half. That's nice, honey, said her mom. We'll add the money we would have given you to your college fund instead. We're so proud of you. You're going to do a great job trying to earn your half. In her excitement, Amelia Bedelia had forgotten all about baking tarts for Pete's. Hey, I got a job, she announced. Pete liked my tarts so much that he wanted me to bake 2 dozen a day. He'll sell them at the diner. Congratulations, said her mom. Lots of people go to Pete's. Did you know that the mayor eats at the diner every day? If he likes your tarts, your business could be a big hit. The best advertising is by word of mouth. Mom's right, said Amelia Bedelia's father. You know winning a contest is a long shot. Dad, I'm decorating a bike, said Amelia Bedelia, not playing basketball. Hey, said her dad, I have an idea. Why don't you decorate your bike like a giant lemon tart? You'll attract more customers and make more money. Then you can buy your bike. That's a sure thing. You sure that's sure? Said Amelia Bedelia. She turned to her mom. What do you think? That's a tough one, said her mother. I can see Dad's point of view, but I also see you want to try and win the contest. Amelia Bedelia's mother smiled. That means there's only one way to settle this. Get ready, you two. She took a quarter out of her purse and flipped it high in the air. Tails, shouted Amelia Bedelia. Heads, called out Amelia Bedelia's dad. Heads it was. So Amelia Bedelia took her dad's advice. She worked on her bike right up to the morning of the parade. Both sides of the front wheel looked like giant lemon slices. Both sides of the back wheel looked like giant lemon tarts. On her back, Amelia Bedelia wore a sign that looked like a mouth-watering slice of tart. On the slice she had written, "Try a bite." Next to the word bite, she had cut out a big toothy bite. Nom, nom, nom. It was a great white shark bite size. To top it all off, Amelia Bedelia constructed a papier-mâché lemon to cover her helmet. She had painted it yellow. It even had a stem and bright green leaves that fluttered in the breeze. If I were you, said her dad, I would take along some lemon tarts and hand them out to people as samples. That way you can peddle your tarts all over town. Her dad chuckled to himself. Amelia Bedelia guessed that he must have made some kind of joke about being on a bike and selling tarts. She didn't have time to figure it out. And from the way her mom was shaking her head and rolling her eyes, it surely wasn't worth understanding anyway. Oh, Amelia Bedelia's dad. Chapter 12. Try a bite. Not. Amelia Bedelia rolled her bike to the town square. When the parade was assembling, Suzanne was already there. When Amelia Bedelia saw Suzanne's bike, she was speechless. She felt exactly the way she felt the very first time she saw the bike. Suzanne had woven red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet crepe paper into the spokes of her wheels. When they went around, the colors revolved in a spiral into the center of the wheel, and it looked like a swirling rainbow. Suzanne had glued glittery stars in the center of both wheels. Amelia Bedelia was so dizzy she had to look away. Was Suzanne trying to hypnotize the judges into voting for her? There were also rainbow-colored streamers flowing out of the ends of the handlebars. Tiny flags bunting made out of little paper unicorns banners and jingle bells hanging everywhere. On the bright side, Amelia Bedelia was glad that she had not wasted her time trying to compete with Suzanne. Maybe Suzanne would toss her the not new anymore bike as she rode away on her brand new bike. The poster in the bike shop had not mentioned that there was a pet parade too. Oh no. Amelia Bedelia could see cats, rabbits, goldfish, guinea pigs, snakes, mice, and dogs, and more dogs. What do all the dogs like that Amelia Bedelia made? Her lemon tarts. Another thing the poster hadn't mentioned was that Wild Bill was the celebrity judge of the bike contest. Oh no! He was riding with the mayor and Miss Individuality in one of his convertibles at the front of the parade. Now Amelia Bedelia was doubly glad that she hadn't tried to win. Wild Bill would never pick her in a million years. She peeked under the bright yellowish dish towel in her bike basket. There were her lemon tarts, all ready to hand out to the people in the crowd she rode by. Soon it was time for the parade to begin. The non-dog pets followed the convertible. Then came the dogs. Then the kids on their bikes. The crowd cheered and clapped for all the marchers. When Amelia Bedelia pedaled past her parents, they clapped the loudest of all. "Hooray for Tart Tarts!" her dad yelled. Everybody yell that. "Hooray for Tart Tarts!" Amelia Bedelia waved, blushed, and pretended not to know them. Then it started. Maybe, it was triggered by her dad yelling "Tart Tarts" as Amelia Bedelia pedaled by one of the dogs. It turned and looked straight at her. It put its nose in the air. Then it began to wag its tail back and bark and bark and bark. Amelia Bedelia recognized that dog. It was one of the dogs Diana had been walking, and it had loved the taste of her lemon tarts. Suddenly, a dog on the other side of the street started barking. Uh-oh, it had tasted her tarts too. As Amelia Bedelia rode on, dogs started sniffing, wagging, barking, and straining at their leashes, trying to get as close as possible to her. Amelia Bedelia peeked in her bike basket. No wonder these dogs were barking. The basket was filled with tasty tart tarts, as they smelled delicious. Amelia Bedelia decided then and there that this would be the perfect time to give out her tarts. If she passed them out now, maybe the dogs would leave her alone. That's very smart thinking, Amelia. She also decided that she would never listen to her father ever again. Oh no! Peddling tarts? Ha! Very funny, Dad. Come back here, Bruno. Amelia Bedelia looked behind her. Bruno had broken away and was running to catch up with her. Someone grab my dog. Another dog had broken away. Amelia Bedelia pedaled faster. Lucky, stop, stay. And another and another. Hey, grab that leash. It seemed as though all the dogs in town were chasing Amelia Bedelia and her tarts. Maybe it was because they didn't want to miss out on a treat. Or maybe this was how dogs celebrated their spirit of individuality. Or maybe they just loved Amelia Bedelia. She was weaving in and out of the other bicycles and marchers. She pedaled as fast as she could on her old bike, with her lemon head bobbing wildly. Faster, yelled Susie, who had seen what was happening. She rode behind Amelia Bedelia, swerving back and forth, trying to keep the dogs away. Several of Amelia Bedelia's friends from school pedaled up and tried to help her too. Go, Amelia Bedelia, yelled Joy. Faster, called Chip. Tweet, tweet. There was a policeman from the park. He blew his whistle at Amelia Bedelia and held up his hand to signal her to stop. Amelia Bedelia glanced over her shoulder. She had never seen so many dogs. She reached into her basket, pulled out a tart, put it to the policeman's hand, and she sped by. He blew his whistle even louder. She looked back and saw a dog leap through the air. It grabbed the tart right out of the policeman's hand like a porpoise snatching a sardine from a sailor. The policeman stared at his hand and counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew! All of his fingers were present and accounted for. Whoosh! Amelia Bedelia saw Pete and Doris up ahead. She reached into her basket and handed them tarts as she pedaled by. Tart! Tart! Eat them quick or... Pete and Doris were too slow. A pair of poodles leapt up and gulped. Those tarts were history. Gulp, gulp. Amelia Bedelia had almost reached the head of the parade. There were still dogs everywhere. She wasn't sure what to do. But she knew she had to get rid of her tarts. She rode in a loop-de-loop pattern, then a circle. Then she headed back to the way she had come. Everyone was following her. Dogs, their owners, and all of the kids on their decorated bikes. Amelia Bedelia handed out tarts left and right. Some folks actually got a taste. As Amelia Bedelia rolled past the convertible, she tossed her tarts to the celebrities. Miss Individuality caught hers with one slender white glove hand. The mayor used both hands. Wild Bill was waving his cowboy hat at the crowd as though he was riding a bronco instead of riding a car. Amelia Bedelia tossed her last tart right into his hat. Bullseye. Amelia Bedelia had run out of tarts just as she had run out of parade, but the dogs were still chasing her. The air was full of them barking. Then it dawned on Amelia Bedelia that her bike looked like a huge dog treat. Even worse, the words "try a bite" were printed on her back. Those dogs were pretty smart. Could any of them read? Amelia Bedelia promised herself that if she survived today, she'd never have anything to do with signs again. Amelia Bedelia had to keep moving. She circled around and pulled up behind Wild Bill's convertible. She jumped off her bike and let it clatter to the ground. Miss Individuality helped her climb into the back seat of the car. Amelia Bedelia ripped the enormous tart off her shirt and threw it to the dogs. They had a blast tearing it apart, howling with happiness all the while. Whew. Amelia Bedelia slid down into the seat next to Wild Bill. He took one look at the giant lemon bobbing on her head and said, "Not you again." Oh, yeah, because her helmet was made into a lemon. Woof, woof, woof. The dogs were barking and drooling and circling the convertible. Woof, woof. Can you all woof with us? Woof, woof, woof. "Get us out of Dodge," yelled Wild Bill to the driver. The driver put the car in reverse and backed up. Crunch! The screeching of metal being dragged across the pavement brought the entire parade to a halt. "What was that?" asked Wild Bill. "That," said Amelia Bedelia, her eyes brimming with tears, "was my bike." Chapter 13. So who needs fireworks? If you've ever wondered what utter chaos and confusion, mass mayhem, and perfect pandemonium would look like, well, this was it. Barking dogs darted back and forth, and kids on bikes swerved around one another and around pets of all shapes and sizes. The crowd clapped and cheered, cars honked their horns, and policemen blew their whistle. All, you might say, in the spirit of individuality. The mayor managed to make his way to the grandstand. This was where, on every special occasion, he had given a speech to his calm, quiet, peaceful town. Diana bounded up the stairs of the grandstand. "Excuse me, Mr. Mayor," she called out as she rushed to the microphone. She blew her whistle with all of her might. But mysteriously, there was no sound. All of a sudden, every dog in town froze. The ears went straight up, and they all turned to look at her. Then they put their tails between their legs, and every single one of them slowly slunk back to its owner. The car horn stopped honking. The guinea pigs and rabbits and parrots stopped chattering. The kids on the bikes settled down. Everyone was quiet except for the policeman. He kept blowing his whistle over and over again until the mayor tapped on his microphone and then said, Officer O'Brien? Shh. At last, a perfect silence descended upon the entire town. Everyone moved closer to the grandstand to hear what the mayor had to say. The mayor cleared his throat. I'm not sure what happened here today, he said, but it looks like one person is responsible. Would Amelia Bedelia please come up here? When Amelia Bedelia heard the mayor say her name, she wanted to climb into the glove compartment and curl up in a little ball. But she didn't. Wild Bill opened the car door for her and walked beside her to the grandstand. If it's any consolation, he whispered gruffly as they walked along, I think you make one mean lemon tart, little lady. I didn't make it to be mean, said Amelia Bedelia. I made it to apologize. Apology accepted, said Wild Bill. Amelia Bedelia wasn't sure what to do. Her tarts had caused this. She was to blame. What if the mayor made her pay up to clean up the mess? Because there certainly was a big mess. Then she would never have enough money to get a new bike. And now she couldn't even jump on her old bike and escape. Her bike, her first sweet, wonderful, one and only bike, was flatter than a chocolate brownie pancake. She was too tired to escape anyway. Besides, it's tough to blend in with a giant lemon stuck on your head. Her parents met her at the steps to the grandstand. Her dad gave her a thumbs up. Her mom took off the big lemon helmet. Amelia Bedelia trudged up the stairs to meet the mayor and her doom. Trudged is a wonderful word. So obviously she's not going up the stairs quickly and excitingly. So trudged is like kind of moseying or walking really slow up the stairs. The mayor shook her parents' hands. Then he brought up Amelia Bedelia forward to stand next to him at the microphone. What do you all think is going to happen? I was born and raised here, he said, so I can safely say that this town has seen more excitement in the past 15 minutes than it has in the past 50 years. As your mayor, I want to say that this is a good thing. When it comes to excitement, Amelia Bedelia means business. People in the crowd began to nod their heads in agreement. Amelia Bedelia could hear kids from school screaming and hollering and whistling. She could see Suzanne smiling and Joy and Holly and Clay laughing and smiling together. Everyone knew that they would talk about this day for years to come. Then Wild Bill stepped forward to the microphone, his hat in his hand. Mr. Mayor, everyone in town knows I've had my differences with this little lady. However, I've come to admire her spirit. She does this thing on her own. If something goes wrong, she bounces back and tries again. As far as I'm concerned, no one captures the spirit of individuality better than Amelia Bedelia. I declare her to be the winner of the bicycle contest. As the crowd cheered, Wild Bill bent down to say to her, I believe you could use a new bike. Am I right? Amelia Bedelia nodded and smiled and waved to the crowd. As the clapping died down, Wild Bill reached into his hat and pulled out the lemon tart Amelia Bedelia had tossed in. And best of all, he said, everyone in town should know that Amelia Bedelia makes one tasty lemon tart. Wild Bill popped the tart into his mouth and wolfed it down in one bite. The crowd roared its approval again. Amelia Bedelia looked over at her mom and dad, could only mouth the word thanks because of all the cheering. Chapter 14. The Bike Wheel of Fate Turns. On her first day back at school, Amelia Bedelia proudly locked her new bike in the bike rack. It was the same exact model as Suzanne's bike, but it was ruby red instead of emerald green. Amelia Bedelia loved it. Suzanne rode up to the bike rack, but something was different. She wasn't smiling the way she had been at the parade. Then Amelia Bedelia got a good look at her bike. It was a wreck. It was in worse shape than Amelia Bedelia's old bike after it had been run over by the convertible. Suzanne parked right next to Amelia Bedelia. What happened, Susie? Asked Amelia Bedelia. I left my bike in the driveway, she said. My mom didn't see it when she went to work, and she drove right over it. Her car got dinged up, too. I'd never seen her that mad. She was jumping up and down and dancing in the driveway. Amelia tried not to laugh. It's not funny, said Suzanne. My mom told me that I'm going to have to help pay for damages. She said she would meet me halfway, though. I've been there, said Amelia Bedelia, and I can tell you all about getting a job. Hey, I need someone to deliver my tarts. I'll lend you my bike and pay you. Suzanne smiled. At first it was just a tiny smile, but then it grew bigger and bigger. Amelia Bedelia put her arm around Suzanne's shoulders. She smiled too. Then they walked into school together. Amelia Bedelia is such a good friend. That's it, you all. Thank you all so much for reading this book with me. We could all be more like Amelia Bedelia, right? I hope you all had fun. What was your all's favorite part of this story? I liked the stepping of the cake that Amelia Bedelia did. I love the tart idea, but my favorite part was that she never gave up. She never ever gave up, and I hope you all never gave up either, okay? Thank you all. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to animals. Keep reading. Bye.